Hey, what's up everybody? It's Papa Bale and welcome to the channel. So lately I've been getting into the closed loop system with the charge battery and the primary battery being the same battery basically. There's your loop. So whatever you put in between there is what you're using to try and make it go a little farther. But here we are, it's going down. But it's been a while, so you know it works. It's just it if the goal is for it to go and generate itself, then no, that's not where we're at. But that's not my goal. Okay, okay, that's never been my goal. This is how I started out doing this. I was building I put like 30 or 72 magnets on a little disc from 10 inches to 2 inches, and it went by twos, and magnets were an inch long. So if you do the math, you could make like a little Christmas tree kind of. And if you did it on the bottom, you could make a little utron of basically levitating plates if you put the shaft down the middle, because the discs had a little center hole in the middle, a little quarter-inch center hole. So you could do that, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I had a little acrylic plates, and you could see through them and everything. And I did levitation, pressure experiments with magnets, all types of experiments. You put a little pressure on it, and then you clamp it down. Then you clamp it down, and then you find out how much friction there is for that much, magnetism. Does it help or hinder? Because I think if you put a little bit of pressure on there, it helps out, like it's doing right here. And if it's not, it's got to be really close to natural for it to not be a hindrance. So just the natural force of the weight and the gravity of the object that it's trying to levitate. If you make any of that stuff like artificial, like if you push it down and then you clamp it in that position, I can tell you right now you're going to add friction. That's just with toroid magnets though, like these ones on the bottom here. And this is a closed loop system, ladies and gentlemen. So there's toroid magnets on the bottom, and there's one on the bottom of the disc that's spinning. And the weight of the disc, presses on that magnet, and you get some levitation there, some bounciness. But I got the coils really close to the disc, so it's not, it doesn't bounce, but it can bounce. That's what I'm saying. So this has gone down from 1202 to 12 in the last hour and a half. This is the output data from the SSG. Output is really low. This is the output data from the SSG gen mode. So what I did, and I don't know, maybe this is the wrong voltage to run this experiment at. I'm not sure yet. I know we got to change something, but so we want to go a little bit longer than it's going per 100th of a volt. So we start here at the battery. Let's start at the battery, and this battery is connected to this SSG. And then this output is connected to the input of that SSG gen mode. And then that output, oh wait a minute, before we do that, we go to the cap bank. There's a cap bank in between each major segue. So let's start over. We got the battery, we got the SSG, and we go to the cap bank. And then from the cap bank we go to the input of the SSG gen mode. Then the output goes to this cap bank, And that cap bank goes back to the battery that we started at. So really it's running 2 circuits. So maybe it's doing all right for like what it has to do. And then it's going through 2 cap banks, which may or may not improve the situation, but it allows for this connection to happen. Without this, you don't get to do this, because you're gonna spark up and you're gonna start a fire trying to do this. So use the cap banks with the directional orientations in there, man. You got 4 bridge rectifiers in the middle there, those little black things. And you got 4 AC caps for the input. Then it gets rectified to the DC and it flows out these stacks of DC caps. And that's the output. It does 1200 watts altogether. 600 watts per AC input. And the AC input can only be like 50 or 60 volts. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to look on the bottom. It's all printed out on the bottom. And the input doesn't have to be AC. That's the thing. You can input DC and it'll flow right through without an issue. But the AC has to be regulated, because that's what it is. It's a DC, or it's some kind of regulator which regulates the AC and then rectifies it. Or that might mean the same thing. I'm not exactly sure. But this is a good speed for a closed loop, I think. Yeah, we're still at 12. And that's a surprisingly low amount of voltage coming out of the SSG, in my opinion. And they are connected. So maybe it's all kind of flowing to the one side because of that coil and the way that it's wound. But it's all good because it's all going to the same place. Boom. So I was wondering, like, if I hooked it up the other way, if I went from the battery to the SSG gen mode output to the cap bank to the SSG, the output to the cap bank to the battery, like just flop them, what do you think would happen? I think we'd definitely get a higher reading over here because we'd have more voltage going in. We'd have a higher reading here because we'd have more voltage going in. Let's do that. Let's flip it around. Next video, we're going to do it the other way around. All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Peace out. Have a wonderful night. Please subscribe. Bye now.